안녕하세요. Riding on the Korean wave. Welcome to Friday's edition of The Culture Wave. I'm Kwon So-ah in Seoul. Explore with us Korea's culture from K-entertainment to K-literature and K-sports. And before you know, you'll be booking your flight to Korea. We're joined by our Friday co-host, Walter Lee. Hello, Walter.
Hello, Soa, and hello to everyone at home. Stick around for my K-Enter news because we've got some exciting news coming up.
Right, we're looking forward to your exciting K-Enter news. But before that, we're going to head to Sweden.
Oh, really?
Because we have a familiar face covering a story for us there. Over in Sweden, December isn't just a time for year-end celebrations. It's also the season to honor the year's Nobel Prize laureates during the highly anticipated Nobel Week. Our culture correspondent Song Yoo-jin is in Stockholm to give us a glimpse of what's in store for this year's Nobel Week, which starts today or Friday.
For the greatest benefit to humankind. Those are the words of Alfred Nobel, the founder of the Nobel Prize, the prestigious accolade that has for over a century honored outstanding achievements in science, literature, and peace work. Every December, Nobel Week celebrates that year's laureates in Sweden, Alfred Nobel's home country.
It is an occasion where we put science and literature and peace work in focus. I mean, that's not done all of the time, and this is a week where we can really highlight these important achievements and reach so many people. So that is what the Nobel Week is about.
This year's Nobel Week runs from Friday to next Thursday.
So I'm here at the Nobel Prize Museum where a press conference previewing this year's Nobel Week has just taken place. So the museum, as you can see, is fully prepared to start off the week-long event introducing this year's Nobel laureates, including South Korean author Han Gang.
There is plenty to enjoy leading up to the award ceremony on December 10th. Starting at the Nobel Prize Museum, there is the Nobel Creations exhibition. These dresses were created by first-year students at Beckmans College of Design in Stockholm based on their interpretations of this year's Nobel Prize winners.
And it feels like a big first step to have this publicity, and it's a great honor to interpret the prizes. And also that the Nobel Prize winners are going to see these creations.
This dress has been inspired by this year's Nobel laureate in literature, Han Gang.
It symbolizes that she's held like in a grip of silence. And then there is this hand coming in here, which is a sign of pain and relief. And hidden in the folds of the dress are texts from the books. There is a detail here of a burnt fabric and also broken seams around the dress, and it symbolizes the trauma of war.
Outside, the Nobel Week Lights Festival will bring a festive glow to the week with 16 light installations by artists, designers, and students from Sweden and abroad, illuminating Stockholm from December 7th to 15th. As for Han Gang, she will make a press appearance at the Nobel Laureate in Literature press conference on Friday afternoon, local time. Her schedule also includes visiting local elementary schools to meet students and teachers, discussing her work at the Nobel reading event, and of course, attending the Nobel Prize award ceremony and banquet. Song Yoo-jin, Arirang News, Stockholm.
A great way to recognize and celebrate the Nobel Prize winners once again, right?
Yes, and I hear all the events actually are going to be streamed across the world, and many people can take part in that if they go to the Nobel Prize's YouTube channel as well.
And with Han Gang's achievement, with author Han Gang's achievement, I think we'll be seeing more Koreans than ever trying to catch those special moments. And also here at Arirang, we'll have some lively scenes from Stockholm as Yoo-jin is expected to connect to us later this next week, of course.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
Right, and for those who can't wait for your K-Enter news, Walter, stick around.
I will.
But first, our AI anchor Ari has some exciting culture-related events for us.
Welcome to the Culture Wave AI News. I am Ari, here to guide you through the latest news and events in Korea's cultural scene. Here's our first story of the day. The Busan International Art Fair began its 4-day run with a distinctive art fashion show blending traditional Korean hanbok with artistic paintings. Hosted annually by the K-Art International Exchange Association, the art fair serves as a platform for direct trade and interaction between artists and consumers. This year, the event features over 250 artists from Korea, India, and various other countries, showcasing approximately 3,000 works of art. A unique collection of treasures offering a window into modern Korean history is now on display. The National Museum of Korean Contemporary History opened a special exhibition titled My Treasure, Our Modern History, which showcases items from the collections of 60 notable figures. The museum aims to shed light on Korea's modern history through personal mementos, including cherished photographs, well-worn books, and iconic music records that capture the essence of an era. The exhibition runs until February next year. A stunning exhibition showcasing some of the world's most extraordinary treasures opened today. The Lotte Museum unveiled the Kazumi Arikawa jewelry collection, celebrated as one of the most beautiful jewelry collections in the world, featuring over 200 pieces from ancient times to the 1950s. The exhibition offers a breathtaking journey through history and artistry. Among the highlights are Valerio Belli's cross, one of only 3 in existence containing relics of the Holy Cross, a necklace gifted by Napoleon I's wife Josephine, and coronation earrings worn by Queen Victoria of England. That does it for today. Stay tuned for more cultural news and engaging discussions coming your way.
Time for K-Enter News with Walter Lee. Walter, it's finally out. Rosé's Rosie.
Right, I feel like we've been talking about her for so long, waiting for her album, and it's finally out. So yes, Rosé's full-length album, Rosie, was released on Friday, 12 a.m. That's Korea time. The album features 12 tracks, including, of course, Apart, and as well as Number One Girl, and the latest one was Toxic Till the End, which has released its music video at 2 p.m. Friday. Now, meanwhile, another achievement by Rosé was her record label, Black Label, announced that the collaboration with, obviously, Bruno Mars and the single Apart actually surpassed 500 million streams on, views, on YouTube. Now, the video reached that milestone in just 47 days and 22 hours, setting a record as the fastest K-pop video to achieve this massive milestone. Now, since its release on October 18th, Apart has sparked a global phenomenon, dominating domestic music charts and reaching number 1 on Spotify, as well as regional iTunes charts as well.
So that means that she even surpassed the record by Psy's Gangnam Style with Apart?
Yes.
Wow, that is amazing. So great back-to-back news for Rosé. And now with 12 songs on that album, I can imagine that these songs will compete against each other on the charts from now on. But moving on to another huge K-pop group with huge achievements, BTS?
Yes. Very interestingly, despite their last song their last song was Take Two, which was released last year in June, BTS have still made themselves the most streamed K-pop artists of 2024 on the music streaming platform Spotify, with their tracks accumulating 3.9 billion streams. Now, this is really interesting. Like I said, they haven't released anything since last year. But BTS members Jungkook and Jimin secured the number 2 and the number 4 spot, respectively, demonstrating that even during their military service, that they are still maintaining their popularity as well. Now, Stray Kids snuck in there at number 3, and girl group New Jeans were at number 5. Now, the most streamed K-pop songs worldwide was Jimin's solo second album track titled called Who, Jungkook's solo debut song 7, and his first title track album song titled Standing Next to You, followed at number 2 and number 3 respectively. And V's solo track Love Me Again claimed the number 4 spot. And remember that song I just talked about, Apatu? Now that actually gained the number 6 spot despite only being released in October. So I imagine if that was released a lot earlier, that probably would have taken the number 1 spot of the year.
Well, maybe things can change in the coming months or so.
Yes.
But Walter, you also mentioned one of the groups was New Jeans.
Yes.
That also was high on the charts. But we're going to talk about the updates on New Jeans, Adore, the contract situation. So what's new?
Yes. So on Thursday, Adore, a subsidiary of K-pop powerhouse HYBE, are now officially taking legal action with the K-pop group New Jeans. The company stated, on December 3rd, we have filed a lawsuit with the Seoul Central District Court to confirm the validity of the exclusive contract between the girl group New Jeans. Now, it was announced last Friday that New Jeans had terminated its contract with Adore, but they agreed to fulfill their duties before the contract termination with third parties and Adore. However, the termination was only made verbally and not actually through a legal route. So Adore stated that we did not wish this matter to go with our artists to be resolved through legal proceedings. However, we determined it necessary to legally confirm to the artists and other stakeholders that an exclusive contract cannot be legally terminated based on unilateral claims. So Adore added, despite multiple earnest requests from Adore staff, we have not yet been able to communicate with the artists. However, we remain committed to making every effort to resolve misunderstandings between us.
Let's hope that things will be settled in the near future.
Let's hope so.
But thank you very much, Walter, for those K-Enter updates.
I'll stick around.
And it's time for the latest in the world of K-Sports with sportscaster Jason Lee. Welcome, Jason.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
I noticed all the baseball players from Korea were doing this every time they got a hit at the Premier 12. I forgot to mention that last time, but yeah, so this is like the big Korean celebration anytime something good happens.
Well, Walter, you mentioned Apatu like around 5 times today.
Yeah, I know.
Why didn't you?
Yeah, I should have done it, yes. I should have to celebrate for Rosé.
Anyways, now from Rosé to sports, I think it has gotten a little colder since the last time we saw you here in the studio, but I think that also means that many people won't go outdoors for exercises or sporty activities. But I think that's not the case when we talk about sports news. There's always something to talk about, right?
Always a lot of heat going on. Certainly at this time of year, a lot of awards going on, a lot of leagues finishing up. So yeah, a lot of things kind of wrapping up in December.
Exactly. Now let's start with the soccer league. So Korea's national team doesn't play again until March, but it's been a past couple of weeks very busy in soccer for both the Korea's domestic league as well as Korean players in Europe. So why don't we start with on the domestic front?
Yeah, of course. Domestically, the Korean Cup just finished up with the K-League 1 division, and it was the Pohang Steelers that went on to take the championship title. They defeated Ulsan HDFC 3-1 in the finals, and this is actually Pohang's second time winning this in the last 2 years. So they are now back-to-back champions, certainly a great feat for them. On the other hand, do note that the Korean Cup, it's basically like the FA Cup rebranded. So it's a tournament that takes place between a lot of the top teams in Korea, even beyond the K-League 1 teams. But when it comes to the actual accolades of the season, Ulsan HDFC probably had the better year overall, not only finishing second in this tournament to Pohang, but they actually went on to win their third straight league title. So another championship under their belt. And they did that with the distraction of Hong Myung-bo leaving the team as head coach back in the summer. So that was kind of a distraction for them, but they were still able to go on and win the league title for a third straight year. So both congratulations to Pohang as well as Ulsan HDFC.
Those were definitely some exciting games that we saw. And
yes, I've been keeping an eye on the Premier League recently and a lot of the Koreans in Europe. And I know that recently Sung Min-min's Spurs have been on the ups and downs recently. So how are the Korean soccer players doing over in Europe at the moment?
Well, Son Heung-min actually just played this morning. The Tottenham Hotspurs played Bournemouth, and they actually lost that game 1-0. Son Heung-min did not start in the game. He entered the game around the 56-minute mark, and actually just a couple of minutes in, he scored a goal, but they deemed him to be offside by like a half step, so it didn't count. It was unfortunate because they were already losing 1-0 at the time. It could have been the equalizing goal. Unfortunately, they end up losing the game 1-0 to Bournemouth, who actually jumped them in the standings. So Tottenham now dropped down to 10th overall in the standings with the loss this morning. Meanwhile, Son Heung-min did score a goal last week in the Europa Cup when they played against Roma. That game finished in a 2-2 tie, Son Heung-min scoring on a penalty shot just 5 minutes in, once again showing that he is the captain of this team. When they need a shooter for penalty shots, they turn to him. He's counted on and he was able to bury it. So a great game for him, even though it was a 2-2 draw in the end. Also, I do want to mention that Kim Min-jae, who plays for Bayern Munich, he actually scored a goal as well. So it was on a rebound. He got a header in off a set play rebound, and that was the deciding goal as Bayern Munich were able to defeat PSG 1-0. And of course, PSG is the team that Lee Kang-in plays for in Champions League. So it was kind of a battle of two of the top Korean players in the Champions League. And this time around, it was Kim Min-jae's Bayern Munich that came out on top 1-0.
I believe it was his debut goal for
this year, yeah.
Yeah, for
That's
Bayern
right.
Munich as well.
Well, Bayern Munich, or Bayern München, how I would like to call the team, was one of my favorite teams when I was back in Germany. But I wish we would have had a Korean player back then.
Yeah.
But it's definitely great to see all these Korean stars in more and more teams in Europe. And speaking of which, we want to talk a little bit about Yang Min-hyuk, the K-League 1's top young player. And I think he's one of the next great Korean players to watch out for, especially because he's also probably likely going to Europe.
That's right. So the K-League 1 also just had their league award ceremonies. And indeed, Yang Min-hyuk was awarded the best young player of the year at just 18 years of age. I mean, there are players in the K-League 1 that are 18. Like, that's not unusual. But for him to win Rookie of the Year at that age, it's just ridiculous. He scored his first goal when he was 17. So he's got the record for the youngest player to have ever scored in the top Korean league. And it's taken notice, not just in Korea, but in fact, the Tottenham Hotspurs, of course, who also employ Son Heung-min, they have signed him on right up until 2030.
Wow.
So they've seen him from afar. They've obviously probably got some good scouting reports from Son Heung-min himself, and he is going to be going over to England, I believe, next week. So he's going to acclimate himself as early as possible, and then probably, go through some training with the team and get to know everyone, the system and stuff. It's probably going to take a little bit of time before he gets to run with the first team. But who knows? Perhaps in the not too distant future, he'll be able to run with the Son Heung-mins and other top players of the Tottenham Hotspurs in the near future. And I do want to note, at just 18 years of age, it's very, very young. We'll probably have to wait a little bit in terms of patience, but this is a player, Yang Min-hyuk, that we're going to see a lot of in the future, not just in Europe, but also on the national team. He's been called up by Hong Myung-bo before, has not played quite yet, but he's also going to be a star for Korea when it comes to the 2028 Summer Olympics for the under-23 team as well. So we can expect a lot of big things from Yang Min-hyuk in the future.
I'm really looking forward to see his debut game in the UK. But rookie, you would think that young players would be able to receive the rookie prize, but as you said, it's incredible that he got that at 18. So that means usually soccer players, they would have to wait a few more years in their 20s?
The way I would put it, it's possible. Like you're allowed to win it when he did win it, but it's just the reality of the league is you're able to win the top rookie award up until the age of 23, and also with up to 3 years of experience. So the fact that he's beating out players that are 5 years his senior, and perhaps some players that have been in the K-League 1 for 2 years already, it really shows just how mature of a player that he has been at this earliest stage. And also scoring 12 goals, by the way, with 16 assists in 38 games. And also to note that the team that he plays with, Gangwon FC, this is a team that, worked its way up. They were not a top team in the K-League 1 the year before. So it was really his addition to this team that led them to a second place finish in the standings. So certainly his contributions were very big. Along with his head coach, by the way, Yoon Jong-hwan, I should mention, also was won the award for top head coach in the league as well. So in the awards, obviously his contribution for the development of Yang Mi-hyuk was well received as well.
I see.
Yes, I could speak about football with you all day, Jason, but we've got to move on to other Korean athletes moving abroad in this world baseball. And I heard that Kium Heroes star Kim Hye-sung has now been posted and is expected to sign with Major League Baseball team sometime within the next month. Where do you think he is most likely to end up?
Yeah, that's right. He was posted this week, 2 days ago. And what that means is for the next 30 days from that point, he can sign on with any Major League Baseball team. He can negotiate with anybody he wants. And I think when you look at the teams that are in most need of a top second baseman, the San Diego Padres make a lot of sense, as do the San Francisco Giants, the Seattle Mariners, the Toronto Blue Jays, perhaps the New York Mets as well. And I think those are teams that could use a second baseman and also have the money to spend to go and, attract a player of Kim Hye-sung's calibers, because not only is he a top offensive player in terms of batting average and base stealing ability, but he's also got very good defensive skills at his position. He can also play shortstop, not just second base, so he's got some versatility. I think what will be interesting, I mentioned that San Diego is one of the teams that he could end up with, and that's the team that has Kim Ha-sung already, his former teammate, but he's had a season-ending injury and he's elected free agency. So he could actually be replaced by his Hube, his junior from his Kium days, by Kim Hye-sung.
They even have a very similar name.
Yeah, Kim Hye-sung and Kim Ha-sung, it's similar names as well, and they could be replacing one another is a very real possibility.
Well, let's keep our eyes on that, how that evolves. But Jason, there seems to be a lot of news regarding KBO. It's also the next season, 2025, because we're going to have some new rules implemented, such as the pitch clock and also the ABS strike zone. So can you tell us more about that?
Yes, the ABS strike zone was implemented last year as it was. However, they're going to tweak it ever so little. For the most part, I think the league and fans were happy with how the pitch clock and the ABS system was run, but the ABS will actually be lowered by about 1 centimeter. So the strike zone will remain the same size, but it will get a little bit lower down, which might help out the junk ball pitchers, your changeup pitchers, because a lower strike will be called, whereas your power fastball throwers, it might not be as advantageous to them. Meanwhile, the pitch clock will also be brought in. The pitch clock was used this past season, but it wasn't enforced. So pitchers could see the countdown, batters could see the countdown, but there was no penalty if the pitch was not thrown in time. Whereas for the upcoming season, if the pitcher does not start his windup 25 seconds in with a runner on base or 20 seconds in with the bases empty, then a ball will be called. So it will be enforced. Games should get a little bit quicker for the upcoming season, and hopefully it'll still give a little bit of leeway to pitchers, though, because it's not as stringent as Major League, which is 18 seconds and 15 seconds.
But generally, because of these changes, it looks like the KBO is kind of following the MLB in these rules, right?
Absolutely. So I think the games will speed up a little bit, and I think more importantly, it'll help the players be more accustomed to the Major League game as well as international play.
All right. Thank you very much, Jason, for those
Pleasure as always.
sports updates. See you next time. And Walter, thank you, of course. See you next week as well.
Next week.
And thank you for spending the past half an hour with us on the Culture Wave. Have a peaceful weekend and hope you join us again next week from Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Korea time, and maybe one day here in Korea.